Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for a flip through of my journal, which I have in a Hobonichi A6. So I'll show you how I have my journal set up, the cover that it's in, I'll talk about my approach to journaling, and then I'll flip through the pages for you. If you watched the video I made on my current notebook lineup, you'll have seen this chunky journal. I got the A6 English version, which means it's the full calendar year from January to December, and it grew a lot more than I expected. I know by no means is this the fattest one you'll have seen, but I've never used watercolors or so many stickers or washi tape before, so this was a surprise to me. It outgrew the Hobonichi cover I had it in for the majority of this year, and so I ordered a cover from Lacao. So this is in the A6 wide size, and I got it in that size so that it accommodated the bulk and also had room for more expansion. It's in the white chocolate leather, both the base and the pocket, and you can see the different textures there. I love how this is pebbly and this is smooth. I have it in the folio style, which just means a simple pocket at the front and at the back. And I have the button closure. I really like this button closure, but I still need to switch out this elastic so that it's a little bit looser because I don't want it to damage the leather from pulling too tightly. This front pocket is so tall that there's not a whole lot of space for decor, but I have in here a card that I got from Eureka Art Studio when I ordered one of her pins. And I really liked the soft color scheme and beautiful and soft drawings, so I just keep that peeking out the top there. And inside I have this drawing of our family's dog, and I just think it's so cute to have him peeking up in here. So sometimes with folios I'll put only one cover in, and sometimes I'll do both. It usually depends on the notebook and the leather. In this case, it's about the Hobonichi itself because this got so thick that it has quite the pronounced hump to write on, which I found pretty annoying, but I was muddling through. And then I saw on one of the Facebook groups, someone said that because of how this book is sewn and bound, you can actually fold the pages back on themselves to make it a more level surface. So once I realized that, it was a game changer. It was a much better writing surface for me, and I take it out completely every time I'm going to journal. So keeping just the back cover in this pocket here makes it a lot faster just to take it out and put it back in. So I just want to talk about my approach to journaling because that's something that changed quite a bit this year. Journaling is extremely personal, and I want to talk about my own experience with it. I have absolutely no judgments for how anybody else chooses to journal. It's all about what works for you in this moment, and that can change. Most likely it will change, and that's a good thing. I've been journaling since I was about 10 years old. Nobody else in my family journals, so all of the ideas I had about journaling came from the media, and it was very much a Dear Diary. Here are all of my innermost secrets and darkest thoughts kind of thing. I always wanted to journal consistently, but I never really did. I tended to reach for my journal whenever I was feeling some kind of heightened emotion, and then I would furiously scribble it all out. It was a release, and I'm glad that I had that outlet because I was an extremely shy child. And even though I've kept all of those journals, I never want to reread them because every time I try, it either transports me back to that time and place where I felt that really strong emotion, or it kind of makes me cringe at how melodramatic I was. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things, but I'm at a point now where I want my journal to be something different. I want it to be intentional, and I want to record pieces of my life that I want to remember. Not just the good stuff and not just the difficult things, but the important bits and the not important bits and everything in between. I just want it to be like a real picture of my life. It's funny because it wasn't until I found this community this year, 2019, that I realized there was another way to journal. I remember coming across Sam Kelly's channel at the beginning of this year and like what a huge eye-opener it was for me. I love Sam's channel and her Instagram, and if you haven't already checked her out, you definitely should. She posted a video called Journaling with Anxiety, and it was like, aha, this is what I've been missing. I also experience varying degrees of anxiety and have journaled about it many times in the past, like pages and pages worth. It wasn't until Sam's video that I realized the act of writing things down imprints them more firmly on me. I mean, on some level, I must have recognized this because when I was in school, that was how I studied. I'd rewrite my notes, I'd color code things, and it was like crucial for my recall. I could picture my study notes themselves during the test. But for some reason, I didn't realize that transferred. So that kind of recall transferred to thoughts and feelings that I had no interest in solidifying. That's where I started feeling like maybe I could take a different approach. I think the biggest realization that I came to is that the way that I used to journal used to be all about reactions. So it was that first, often unconscious reaction to something that I would hold on to until I could release it in the pages of my journal. And as I've been learning, reactions are sometimes defense mechanisms or sometimes projections of my own insecurities or vulnerabilities, and they're not always valid or fair. And so giving them that much attention and energy wasn't something that I wanted to be doing. I've been working on separating my reactions from my responses, where I can take a breath, take a step back, hopefully see the bigger picture more clearly and move forward. So I really want that mindset to be reflected in my journal, which to me means finding a balance. I've been learning about the 3 states of mind, which if you're not familiar, I think it's a dialectical behavioral approach. There's tons and tons online. I'll see if I can link an article. But anyways, the 3 states of mind are rational mind, emotion mind, and wise mind. And okay, I'll try to give a very brief overview of my understanding of this concept, but please bear in mind that I am absolutely not an expert. Rational mind is very cool and logical, and I always see the example of Spock come up to illustrate rational mind because he, if you're not familiar, is from Star Trek, and he learned to suppress emotion in favor of reason. So then emotion mind is instinct and how we react to things, which is usually influenced by our early life experiences. So it's when your emotions are in control and influence your thinking and or your behavior. And hearing that or reading that, I definitely know that when I used to journal, it was primarily from the state of emotion mind. And so what I'm doing now is I'm working at moving towards wise mind, which is the integration of rational mind and emotion mind. It's not like I'm not trying to suppress either one. I'm trying to balance them. And not just for journaling, in my life in general. When I'm journaling, I do like to recognize and acknowledge the positive things going on in my life and what I'm grateful for. And that doesn't mean I ignore the difficult and challenging things. This has been a hard year, and that's all reflected here. It's important to me that this is real, and it's been really wonderful to grow in this journal this year. This is the first Hobonichi purchase that I made, and I thought I would use this as a planner. I realized quickly that I didn't need this much space per day to plan, and so after the month of January, I switched to the weeks. So I decorated this first page here. Didn't touch these at all. I don't even know if I looked at them. And I didn't use these at all, which looking back through it makes me feel like it was a lot of wasted space. I'm going to research how other people have used them, maybe get some ideas, and if any of you want to share how you have used these pages, I'd love to hear it. And so these monthly spreads at the front, I also watched a video by Robin at Art Journal Girl, and at the beginning of the year, she was in her A6 Hobonichi, and she had talked about using this space to record something that happened that day, something positive, and I thought that would be a great idea. So I've been pretty consistent with these. There's big things, there's little things. They're not all positive. Sometimes it's just simply something that happened, or I think I have some saying when I had a cold, and it's just, again, a snapshot, but mostly it's searching for something positive in every day, which, I mean, I could always find, and I love that. I did hit a little bit of a journal slump in September and October, which you'll see with some blank boxes, and I didn't go and backfill them. Part of the joy of this is doing it the day of, or at least the week of, and I don't want to go months back and try to pull something good. I know it was there, and I'm hoping to finish the year strong. I didn't do anything on this spread, but I am hoping to change that for 2020. So again, any ideas of how you guys have used these pages here, would love to hear them. The other thing you'll notice is I mostly didn't use these monthly pages. I used a few here and there to try and have a focus for the month, and I do think that's what I'm going to try and do again next year, except obviously be more consistent. This is a picture of our dog with his Happy New Year crown. At the beginning of the year, I always used the Hobonichi pen that came with it. So the Uniball Jetstream, which I love, it's one of my favorite ballpoints. Here's where I started using it as a planner. I don't know if you can tell, but I used my tasks, like my planner parts were always in blue and the rest was in black or colored. And it was good. It was working well. It was just, like I said, too much space. So I would have that, and I would have my journals, and it was pretty simplistic, mostly pen and some fine liners. And it was at this point that I was really diving into the planner community, and I saw so many people doing so many creative things, like using ephemera, washi tape, stickers, watercolor, tip-ins. And I found Emily at Emmy Lou Arts, and I absolutely love her. I'll link her and Sam Kelly's channels down below, but she is just so creative and fearless in her journaling, and I find it so inspiring because I definitely tend towards being more cautious and worried about if I mess something up, and she has really inspired me to just go for it. I mean, you can always turn the page, and honestly, I haven't been unhappy with any of these pages. Like, sure, some I love more than others, and some I look at and I'm like, could have been better, but I love seeing the variety as I flip through, and it's just plain fun. I just love it. So at this point, I'm just going to flip through the rest of the pages, and I'll come back to you once I've made it to today. And that brings us to this week. It brings me a lot of joy to flip through this and to see all the different pages, some simply ballpoint pens, some with watercolor, some washi, some stickers. Love the different pens I've used. I think I'll probably film a video just with the supplies that I like to use in my Hobonichis. But I will be sticking with the A6 for next year. I did get the Avec because while I do like how this looks and feels, and I enjoy flipping through it all together, I don't love having to work around this hump, and I think that I'll enjoy starting a new journal in the middle of the year. I hope that helps kind of keep me out of the slump I fell into this fall, but we'll see. And I am staying with the Avec because I still want the dated version. I'm still building the habit of writing every single day. And so this really, really helps. I love this small size. I can see how it would be restricting for people who tend to write a lot. But for me, I find blank pages intimidating sometimes. And this, I feel like it gives me enough space for me to write down what I want to write down without being overwhelming. That's something that may change in the future. But right now, I am absolutely loving this little A6 size. I had some blank pages, some pages were simply quotes or a sticker, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like I said, the goal is to write every day, and I'm doing my best, and if not, I'm just giving myself grace and going with it. I never thought I'd have a YouTube channel and be showing the majority of my journal on it, but this is just such a lovely community, and I love being a part of it. So here we are. So if you have any ideas for how to use any of those front pages of your Hobonichi or your monthly page, please do let me know. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.